asked over and over and over, how did I get to Illinois, to Corpus Christi, Texas, with Lester Roloff, Rebecca Home for Girls? And boy, is it a story. But I did it to myself, but I didn't realize I was doing it to myself at that point. I was just a child. But, my mom got remarried, and we lived in a little subdivision in the 70s like everybody else. And one day, there was a knock at the door. Knock, knock, knock. And my mom went to church and got saved, and our whole life flipped over again. I was already an abused child, but I just didn't realize it because I thought it was normal. I didn't know everybody else wasn't like me until I met my friend across the street, and we started having sleepovers, probably first, second grade. You know how that goes, playing outside and stuff, and running around. And I noticed her family was completely different from my family. And I think her family kind of noticed because they looked out for me. I mean, they always made sure I had something to eat, clothes. They took me on vacation, took me to things that, I never got to go to as a child. Then that knock on the door, it all changed again. My abuse started getting more intense because Sunday nights and Wednesday nights, my mom went to church and I was left home alone again with my abuser. And I was a school night and I couldn't go. But, it was in a sad situation when I realized what was going on. Because I went to my pastor first, and I said, I'm getting hurt, really severe here. And I'm ending up in and out of the emergency rooms. And, a lot of horrific things was happening to me as a small child. And the first time I remember the major event was when I was about 8 years old, laying down in the front seat of a car. And it was the most piercing pain I ever felt in my life. And things just got worse and worse, and the abuse got worse, physical, sexual, and mental. And I went to my pastor, and I wanted to be that good Christian girl. I wanted to do right. I loved Sunday school as my safe zone. And I really started memorizing the Bible, and they had, these little contests, little Bible contests. We would travel to churches, and, we'd get up there and ask questions up and down, get little trophies at summer camp and all of that. And, I loved it. It was my safe zone. But my pastor let me down. I became an attention seeker. My abuser got promoted to a bus driver in the bus ministry, and I got labeled as the bad girl, the girl causing the problems, the girl that's making him do these sins. And it was all my fault. And I started believing that in my head. This is my fault. I'm causing all this man to hurt me like this. I'm not doing nothing right. So it kept going, and 5th grade came along a few years down the road, and I walked to the Bradley police station in Bradley, Illinois, and said, I'm getting hurt, I need help. Well, they put me in a squad car. I thought I was going to jail or anywhere. I was ready to go, And I noticed they were going back to my house. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die today. This is it. But he went in, he talked to my parents, and he came out and he told me, you wouldn't look that way if you would listen to your mom and dad. Disobeying your parents and being an unruly kid makes these things happen. I'm like, oh my God, it's my fault again, So I kept on tugging along in life, trying to fit in with my mom's, new Christian life, the IFB, and, now I can't wear pants, I'm in skirts, and, I like sports, and, all the neighbor kids played, and I look different. I look different, I act different. A lot of things in my life was pulling me away from my little friends and isolate me. I was going to a Christian school, taken out of the public school, I think 3rd or 4th grade, and went to Grace Baptist Academy, but then I went to Baptist Temple ACE when it came out. So now I'm in an ACE school. I can't communicate with none of my friends. Everything was based around that church. But I was getting dressed for PE. That's when we had these little PE outfits, And I did think nothing of it, just getting dressed like normal kids. And I got called in the office later. Somebody reported my injuries on my back. Well, the next day, CPS came. They took pictures and documented everything. And I'm thinking, I'm safe. I'm going. I'm getting out of here. But that didn't happen either. They took me to the doctor. I was asthmatic, so I got an excuse for PE. I never had a dress for PE or take PE again in my life. So it didn't help me none. So, so I didn't know what to do no more. So I started running away. I got tired of being hurt. So my crime was that I'm on habitual runaway and from running from my abusers. And the more I ran and the more I got caught, I kept telling them, I'm getting hurt. I'm getting hurt. Well, by my house was railroad tracks, and there was an old railroad car just sitting on the tracks. Well, I started making me a house in there, I covered up with cardboard. Sometimes it was cold. Sometimes I got hungry, and I would, go out. Every time I would go out, I would get caught. It seemed like. And now I'm in trouble with the juvenile justice system. And I kept telling them, this ain't right. Something's really wrong here. Well, the injuries got kind of bad in 6th grade, and I went for an exam, a doctor exam, and they documented my abuse, what was happening to me as a child. Now I got to go to counseling. They're putting me in counseling. Not my abuser now, not the abuser. They're putting me in counseling. I went on Court Street, Kankakee, Illinois, to this counseling place, and there was a man named Kurt. He was my counselor. He was, I think he was like the head of the counseling place, maybe. His name was Kurt, and he started inviting me over to he had Bible studies and stuff like that, and, like a teen night and all this. I thought, well, okay, more kids like me, at least I won't be so different than them. So I started going. It was his community, Kankakee, Illinois. It was rural Lake Halts. 1979, they went to a Christmas party. Some of them stayed home. The ones that went to the Christmas party and stuff disappeared. They have not been found, as far as I know, still today. They really went to the promised land. But one thing, I lived in 3 families' homes with them. One thing I can say, they never abused me. They never hurt me. It's the only time I actually had a normal life, that I went to a school. I've never got to go to school, very little education with ACE, but I got to go to a public school for like 3 or 4 weeks. I was so happy. I just wanted to be like other kids, and go to school and have an education, dress like them, be able to go to the carnivals and the fairs, but have a bike and a doll. None of that happened with my life. So, and every time my counseling and everything was going good, they would place me back at my parents' house, back with where I'm getting hurt. Well, when I got hurt, or right if I knew I was getting hurt, I would run again. I'm like, no, I'm not going to keep going through this. This does not feel right. It's painful. This is not right. I'm a child, and I kept begging for help. But yet, and I blame it a lot on the times. The times were different back then. I know that's a cop-out and an excuse in my head, but it was. Times were different back then than they are today, So, it's not an excuse, but I kind of feel that way. So I was still going back and forth, and I would do good, and they'd send me back, or I would run. Well, it got to the point where they put me on medication for being an unruly kid, depressed, and, I was always sick. I was always a sicky kid, asthmatic, and my stomach always hurt from, injuries. I have a lot of scar tissues as a woman. When I was a child, they told me I would never bear children, but I did. And I had 3 children of my own, which made my own family. And I'm very happy in my life as that. And so, I'm sitting there thinking, man, I just can't take it no more. So they put me on medications. Now, I don't like medications. They were way too strong for me. It got to really bad where I couldn't function. You drool, you're peeing, you couldn't play, you couldn't do nothing. And I was like, and I'm like, Lord, have mercy. I did not know until later on in life that's a chemical restraint. That happens to many foster kids and many institutional abuse children. This called chemical restraint. They put you on these high doses of medicine where they got control of you a little bit. So they put me in the mental hospital, got my medications all worked out, and I'm like, man, I'm 12 years old. I'm not crazy. I'm a kid. I just want to, ride a bike or, go roller skating or do something normal. And it didn't happen. So I ran again when next time I got hurt. And went to the emergency room, and I was burned. I remember him getting a hot pan of grease, and he took my hand and he stuck in that grease. I thought I was going to lose my fingers on it for a long time, but I healed, And I'm like, I can't do this no more. So I ran again. Well, this time when I ran, they put me in the court system, juvenile justice system. And I was placed in Illinois Training Center School in Geneva, Illinois. You had to be like a criminal or something, you know, not wanted, you know, the same old story. But I don't remember too much. It was so huge, and I was so petrified, and I was so little, and the screams and the stuff. I mean, I remember things, but nothing like I do at Rebecca. Rebecca, I remember every little detail that's in my head. There, I just hear faked things I remember, and like I said, the screams, especially the screams at night, I remember very well. And so I was in there for about 3 or 4 months. And I got out, and, you know, again, they placed me with my mom. Again, I ran. And this time they took me to Juvenile Detention Center in Kankakee, Illinois, a county jail. I was downstairs, and they were upstairs. They claimed it was for foster placement because they had nowhere to put me because they couldn't keep me, you know, embedded or nothing because I was a free spirit. I was like, no, this ain't right, and I got to fight for what little life I got, you know. I just want to live. I just wanted to live as a child, and I fought very hard every day to live as a child. So, and I was in juvenile detention. We got called to court, and I remember going into court, and there was my mom, my stepdad, a guy named Jerry Sparks from my mom's church, Jim Kennison, the pastor, and they're all sitting in there, and I'm like, oh my goodness, and here I come in, you know, little orange outfit and cuffs. I was so embarrassed anyway. I was scared. I was so, like, traumatized for being a abused child and put in the county jail, so I'm already devastated anyway. So when we get there, the judge, you know, we're talking to, you know, asking questions and stuff. And my Aunt Betty and Uncle Frank showed up also. And they were trying to get custody of me, but the state would never grant it because their income wasn't high enough. Even though they had a 3-bedroom home out in the country and 3 girls, and I would have been loved and taken care of. That wasn't good enough. Loving and being taken care of. Well, that wasn't what they wanted. You know, they wanted money and profit off of me. And I believe that to my heart because they fought very hard for me and never gave up. So, and so when my mom stood up, she says, you know, judge, sir, whatever. My daughter got accepted at a good Christian school. It's in Corpus Christi, Texas, Rebecca Home for Girls, the Rebecca Academy. You know, it's very high called for. It's, you know, and my daughter got accepted. I'm asking permission. Can my daughter be sent there? And the judge agreed to it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to a Christian school. Okay, I can handle that. You know, I'm going to be safe. Yeah, you know, send me. Well, when it came to time to send me, I figured that I would get dressed, you know, and go to this. Oh, no. I had the shame of the walk of shame, I call it. In my little suit, and I was handcuffed, and they bring me out, and my mom and Aunt Betty and everybody was there, and my Aunt Betty wanted to hug me, and they pushed her back, and my enemy was yelling, "Run, I'm in cuffs, I'm 12 years old," and I stood there froze, you know. And they took me to O'Hare Airport, talking about the walk of shame. I can feel it in my bones still right now, how I felt. You know, I was so humiliated and so embarrassed, wondering what all these people were thinking about me, you know. And so I finally, on my way, I made it. When I got on the plane, they uncuffed me and shackled me, but I was still in the little outfit, you know. But I got to sit there on the plane, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be okay. This is going to be okay, Barb. Don't panic, you know, because, you know, I'm thinking the worst as it is already. So I'm thinking, okay, and I got, you know, we're at the airport. I don't even remember wherever I landed. Here come 2 little old ladies, and they picked me up, and they're like, "Oh, you're going to the, you know, Rebecca school?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, we're so happy to have you. We have a 600-acre farm. We do all this health stuff. We have ACE schooling. You know, we do this and we do that. We have sports." And I'm like, "Yeah." You know, we get a brand new dorm. It just got built in 1974. It's 1976. You know, it's brand new dorm. And Lester Roloff just loves you kids. And and I'm so excited. I'm like, yes, yes. So when I thinking I'm going to be there, I'm going to have my own bed, my own clothes. I haven't had that, stuff like that in so long, and shoes, and I'm going to be like other kids, and I was so excited, I'm going to be that good Christian girl, and I was going to go to heaven. I was doing everything right. But, when we got there, I noticed when we pulled on this country, it was a kind of long drive, this country road, and I'm looking, and I'm like, dang, is that a barbed wire fence and chains and a guard shack? Oh my God, where am I going? I'm thinking, this ain't a good Christian. Oh no, my heart just starts, racing a little bit, and I'm like, oh, this don't feel right. It don't look right. It don't feel right. Yeah, you gotta remember, I'm just turning 12, 13 years old. So I'm like, I've been through hell already. I've been through 33 foster homes, 2 group homes, 1 state home, the mental hospital, juvenile detention, on the plane. Now I'm in Corpus Christi, Texas. All this is from 11 to 13, it was just going nuts. And I was just overwhelmed and devastated as it was. The only thing I wanted to do is go home and be loved by my mom. Choose me, Mom, not him. Choose me. I love you, Mom. I need you. That didn't happen either. So it came to got in the office, and they're kind of going over the rules. I'm just sitting there. Now, being an independent fundamental Baptist is not new to me. I was raised in that already. I was already at ACE school. I already lived by the rules. No, outsiders, no music, no books, no pants, no makeup. I was already listening to them rules. So that is nothing new to me. So that wasn't the issue with me. I tried to be that person. And they said, since I was coming out of jail, I had to take a life shower or something. They gave me this chemical stuff. I had to go take that and stuff. And they were going through all my suitcase. What I had, I didn't have much anyway. But they went through all my stuff and what I could have and what I couldn't have. And she handed me uniforms. I'm thinking, well, at least I got clothes. I got my own clothes. That's good. I'm going to have my own bed. So I was pretty happy about that. Then it's time to, I didn't see no other girls yet around. I didn't know where they were or if they even existed at that point. And it was time to go eat. And we went to eat. And I'll never forget this to the day I die. I mean, right now, if I can go into a buffet at a steakhouse and I see this, it gives me the shakes. It makes me sick. And I got 1 scoop of, remember that carrot salad with the raisins and the mayonnaise stuff? I'm like, oh, and I'm thinking, okay, where's the food? And I'm seeing, that's it. This 1 scoop of carrot. So, like, oh God, I'm already hungry. So I'm like, okay, maybe tomorrow will be better. And it really never got better, really. And so here we go. The school was built now, and behind Rebecca is brand new. When I got there, they come and dine. The kitchen still was not built. They were in the process of building it, and we were still going to behind the Jubilee to eat. If you watch Freedom's Last Call, Part 1, we're in line there getting our food, and that's the only time we ate like that. That was the old kitchen. And that was Mr. and Mrs. Manus, and they gave me the only Christmas I had in 1977 that I remember as a child. And that was my only Christmas and the last Christmas I had. And so I was grown. So now we're all, getting situated, and we're back in our room. And I noticed all these girls being really quiet, just sitting on their bed reading their Bible. And I'm thinking, okay, it's okay. I like reading my Bible. I can handle that. I love the Bible. I can do this. Well, we had 3 girls to a room, Jack and Jill bathroom, and the other 3 girls. That was called our bathroom mates. So, we 6 girls kind of got dressed, together in the bathroom, in one bathroom. And there was intercoms in every room and in places, they listened to everything you say. People, and let me tell you, they listened too. Somebody was listening, because many times we got punished for something that was said And I got punished a couple of times over just things I didn't even think about, you know. Well, Mitch talking about Mighty Mouse cartoon one time. I got in trouble. That was TV, you know. When fell into Tell on a Sinner, I got that all the time. And I didn't even know what it was. I'd be called down there, you know, my bathroom mate, the girl in another room, you know, I failed to tell on. What am I supposed to tell on? I think they just, like, beat me. I swear to God, Mr. Cameron loved to beat me. And I'm like, God, I just, you know, so I'm getting overwhelmed with all these punishments and the licks. And I'm a nail biter, and that was the 5th rule on the thing, no nail biting. So that was 20 licks a week I got for 3 years, and I still bite my nails. You know, if getting beat never stopped me from biting my nails, I don't think nothing will, because that was, and then sometimes you got other, you know, punishments on top of that punishment, and sometimes it got really bad, and we called it hamburger butt, you know, and because it was something else, and times my skirt would dry because it'd be bloody, and, you know, and I used to just fold up and sink my little butt in the toilet because, you know, the shower hurt me, the bathtub hurt me, anything hurt, everything hurt. But I would kind of soak it to where, you know, the swelling and the bruising would go away. And so that's, you know, how I did that little part of my life. You know, I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, I just got beat. At home, I didn't want to come here and get beat, you know, and I'm getting, whew.
That everything is normal, but he is showing visible concern. The fight here has lasted over 6 years to find out just what goes on behind these walls and get some sort of regulations at the state level. But no matter what happens, Roloff vows to keep his girls. I'm Dan Medina, the Texas News.
Abuse, and everybody wants to sit here and say, you know, it wasn't like that. Don't say nothing unless you were there. Unless you are not a Rebecca girl, do not put your comments in your stories. I read them over and over, articles, books. Everybody's got something to say about us, but nobody ever came and asked us or interviewed us or nothing. They went off of hearsay of this article or a little article or Yahoo thing somebody put up, you know, 5 or 10 sentences, and somebody else would run off with it, make a whole story up, and it was nothing like that. No matter what people say, that place was corporal punishment. IFB believes, Independent Fundamental Baptist believes a corporal punishment, the will to break a child, and that's what they were going to do. They were going to break us one way or the other, and by God, they tried. And one thing that hurt me for my adult life for a very long time was whores and prostitutes, dope fiends from hippie hives, eternal cases nobody wanted. We were 12 and 13 little kids. You can watch the footage and the news footage and all the 5 films we made and all this stuff you can see. We're little children, you know. We wasn't even at that age to be whores and prostitutes. I don't know anybody that really was. I mean, a couple girls had their little boyfriends, I think, you know. And yes, girls did come in pregnant, and girls did get pregnant there. But a lot of them got pregnant by their family members or somebody at the church, or, you know, or something like that. There's very few that I can actually say that could say that it was a boyfriend. And I remember one girl, you know, she wasn't pregnant, but she had a boyfriend, you know, because we talked about it a couple of times. And, you know, no, I didn't have a boyfriend. Shoot, I was, you know, just turning 13. Many of us didn't. And drugs, you know, we didn't do drugs. And if you listen to Phil Donahue's show, Lester Roloff, they asked, well, do you allow smoking? No, we consider that a drug. So smoking a cigarette's a drug, so you're calling us drug addicts on YouTube and national TV and on your radio station? How we're these bad kids? And everybody sent millions of dollars. I watched this man rake in millions and millions of dollars. And I know because we counted it a lot. You know, there was a office downtown, you know, some of us went there to work, you know, and there was just rows of desks, old ladies, and that's what we did. Open up, put the money here, put the checks here, put the gold here, put the deeds here, every day. It never stopped and it never ran out. You know, he made millions and millions off of us. He called us his crown jewels, the Rebecca girl, his crown jewels, his money makers. Really? Because I didn't want to be a money maker. I wanted to be loved. I wanted a home. I wanted an education that you took from me. I never got an education. They don't even have school records. ACE wasn't even state credited to 2014. And Donald Howard made it in 1970, and Rebecca Girls in 1972 was in the promotional video. It was pretty well made for Lester Roloff and the Rebecca Girls. That's how it all started. You can look it all up. And that's how it all got going. David Gibbs Christian Law Association started in 1972. Roloff was his first person he ever took in, you know, and that was an 8-year court battle, church and state, landmark Supreme Court case. Yeah, if you don't know, you know, it all started right there on that farm. People wouldn't even believe the things that started, that people just didn't know the history of, or maybe didn't understand how it started, or what happened here. You know, yes, Lester Roloff started in 1958 for alcohol men, City of Refuge. Then 1968 came Rebecca Home for Girls, then the Anchor Home, the Lighthouse, you know. Then went on, they had a senior citizen home, the Peaceful Valley, the Bethesda Home for Girls, and it just kept on spreading and spreading. And 1980, he opened up Regeneration Ranch for Native girls. At Fort Thomas, Arizona, which is right now where everything is stationed, moved from Corpus Christi. The Roloff, the altar programs there. I mean, it's Facebook. Roloff Enterprises back up and running. And if that ain't scary, that's something that you better be scared about, because it is not going to be nothing nice. And it's, you know, the money they got is probably, you know, I have to give David Gibbs, you know, Christian Law Association. He's a very smart man. I don't care what anybody says. I was around that man. I watched how he maneuvered. Even though I was a child, I remember everything in details. Believe me. You know, people say, let go of your past. I did let go. It don't let go of me. You know, I suffer from PTSD and night terrors. And I try to forget. And the more I try to forget, the more I remember. And he's a very smart man. He knows the law. And buying that land by that Indian reservation and putting that stuff out there, because I've been trying to call Indian Affairs for years, try to get a hold of them, some information that I know that I thought needed to bring awareness to, you know, because no matter what, I've been boots on the ground for many years doing this, bring attention and awareness to what's been going on. Because see, it didn't stop at Lester Roloff, because Lester Roloff in 1980, see, he had a $5 million property deal when the home closed, and it opened up 6 months later. You know, everybody's like, oh, it closed, and he went to jail. He went to jail 5 days. You know, that ain't much for what we went through. And so he had a $5 million property thing, and everybody switched. It's like everybody switched. You know, the Wills were at Jubilee, now we're at Bethesda. Bethesda went up to Ruth Home of Compassion. Michael Palmer opened Victory. Raymond Palmer opened Happiness Hills. Herman Fountain opened Bethel. I mean, it just, you know, homes started boom, boom, boom from the farm. You know, he just sent people out. I call it training the human monster, because that's what it was. He trained these people how to do corporal punishment and break the will of children, and that abuse carried on from state to state, raid to raid, home to home. Still today, Circle of Hope in Missouri, 100 charges right now of sexual assault and abuse on children. Agape, been fighting years, get it closed down. All the abuse is coming out of there. Them are a spinoff of Lester Roloff homes. Jack Patterson and Herman Fountain, see, they can't work with children no more. They got adult rehabs, you know, and I imagine that ain't nothing nice either, you know. And I don't know how it's never called World Occult, because they call themselves disciples of Lester Roloff, you know, carrying on the trade. But Lord, how mercy. Can't you help children without the corporal punishment and abuse and extreme religious belief?
On Monday, Lester Roloff introduced us to Lisa Jackson, a 14-year-old from Florida that he frequently talks about.
Oh, no. This is the daughter of the Secret Service agent that protects Mr. Monday. This is his daughter. Washington.
But this morning, Lisa left the Rebecca home after only 2 months here. She says that it's okay for some people, but not for her. Others are joining the ranks of those leaving. One parent told me that she didn't want her child in the middle of this mess, but says the school should stay open.
Yeah, you messed me up inside. It's like your energy was kissing my soul back to life, was living. Now it feels like every part of me is died. Yeah, you're gone without a trace. You left me where no one can find me. There's no sign of life out here. I scream and it goes silent. I fight so hard, but I can't find my way out. Lost all direction and time. I think I'm losing my mind. If this goes down, if this goes every message that I send you, you just leave them all read. Now every part of me is hurting, cross my heart, I don't deserve this. I should just for you to haunt me in the end.
I knew because my mother was there, so it was nothing new to me. But the girls that were coming in that were different, like Catholic or something like that, they had no clue what was going on. And you could tell the girls that's never been abused. Oh my goodness, it used to break my heart. I'm used to abuse, you know. I used to think, man, take me. You know, I'll take your punishment. Take me. You know, I'm used to it. But, you know, because you could tell when they wasn't, kids were never abused. They were probably came from a decent family and something happened. A lot of people were in there for custody battles. ILP kids, you know, they got sent there for wearing pants, listening to rock and roll. It was the devil's music. That was a big one. Can you imagine getting sent home away from home for a year, 2 years, 3 years because you want to listen to the devil's music? I mean, and speaking of that, Lord, one time a new girl came in and she played piano. Oh, she was so good. Played piano. And I would sit there and think, man, I know that song. I know that song. What is that song, you know? And it dawned on me. I'm like, Jesus is just all right with me, Doobie Brothers. So we would go over there and we'd kind of sing it quietly. Well, a week went by and we was getting a little louder and a little, you know, wow, maybe it's because it's got Jesus in it and, you know, the beat ain't that bad. You know, maybe it's okay. Boy, we heard Miss Cameron come out of that office. Whew. Don't do that again. Bet you that. I mean, listening to the devil's music, Lord. You know, we had biblical school, like I said, ACE, and we went to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. We had Bible study every night. We had Bible classes, you know. We had to memorize a chapter out of the King James Version Bible. Every month we get a privilege. Many girls couldn't do that. Many girls got in trouble for that. That was something I watched a lot of girls get punished for that really had no reason to be punished. And they just couldn't memorize the King James Version. I myself, I can barely read or spell, but I can memorize real good, so I can memorize it. I was one of the lucky ones, and very few were, you know, and besides not getting in big trouble, I got an hour a month on a foosball table at the school. They let me play foosball by myself, but, you know, maybe another girl once in a while, but that's what I got to do for memorize my King James Version, you know, Bible, but you know, we got a little bit of treats here and there, and we worked in the hot fields, the Texas fields, and I'm from Illinois and an asthmatic, so that Texas heat was horrible for me, and oh my goodness, sometimes I didn't think I was going to make it. I mean, I literally thought, this is it, you know, and they're like, quit faking, you know, breathe in, pray to God, and give me a little thing, paper, them little Dixie cups of vinegar, and I had to drink that, blow in a bag, you know, thinking, oh, please don't let me die. Please, God, don't let me die. I have never prayed so much to God in my life as I did as a child. Every night I prayed, please, God, don't let me be hurt tonight. Please, God, I need you. Please, God, I'll be good. Please, God. He never heard my prayers, not once. Not one time did God hear my prayers. So now I'm starting to get to the point where there is no God. You know, you're forcing all this extreme religious beliefs on me, and I don't think there is a God. But, you know, I still hung in there. So I fell into telling sinners. So I got tired of getting abused with them that board. So I used to sit in the closet. I forget this. You ain't gonna worry about me telling on nobody. I'm in the closet. So I was sitting there and reading my Bible. I started reading from cover to cover. I read it 3 times while I was there, taking notes, reading, trying to figure out things. I'm like, holy crap! This is nothing like they're teaching me. I mean, it hit me hard. Now, sometimes I'll be in there crying and stuff, and they'll open the door thinking they're going to catch me at something. I'm like, in my mood, and I'm trying to figure out all this stuff, because really, starting to read it like a book, there was a lot of evils in the Bible. I mean, a lot of children's sacrifices, death, killing the firstborn. I mean, there was some crazy stuff, and I'm like, I didn't even realize, because they cherry pick. We heard this voice or that sermon or this sermon. And they were pretty steady, the same thing over and over, even at the tent revivals and stuff. So when I really started reading it and going through it and taking notes, I'm like, oh no, I don't think I want this. I don't think this God is my God. And this ain't the God I want. My God is a good God. My God's going to come and protect me. My God's going to make me safe. Where are you, God? Where are you? You never came. So now, church.
A child cannot learn without a disciplined classroom. And then also our school is biblically based. All of our subjects are taught with the idea that God has a plan for every person, and whether it's English or history or social studies or science, since God is the God of all, then it's all based on the foundation of the Bible.
Ms. Oliver says she was terrified, afraid of spankings and punishment for minor infractions. Sharon says the school, which looks neat and clean on the outside, is really unhealthy, both mentally and physically. Medical care was especially limited and lax.
I think one of the strangest things that happened while I was down there was a couple of girls drank toilet bowl cleaner trying to commit suicide, and they wouldn't take them to the hospital. And what they did was they laid them down in the living room on the couches, and they called us all down there, and we were to pray for them. And I and lots of other girls just couldn't handle it very well. It was a very bad situation watching them lay there and suffer like they were, and knowing that they weren't going to be helped. And finally they were taken to the hospital, but it was after they knew that they had to be taken. And one of them will never be able to have children again. She had half of her stomach removed. And it was a bad experience, but that was one of the worst while I was down there.
Well, that was part 2. I know there's a lot crammed in that little video, and I try to bring the receipts with things that I said, and hopefully, Rebecca girls, our side's going to be heard, and people are going to believe us after 40 years. Hopefully they will. It's all I wanted, just to be believed and bring attention to all these other homes and all these children getting abused till today. We're fighting hard. Hang on, kids. We're fighting. We're coming. It's just taking a lot longer than what we thought. But we do have our federal bill up, and we passed the 2 little bills in Missouri, and we're working, very hard at bringing awareness. So, and that's why I'm trying to bring my childhood story out on the front line, for people can see and help us fight and understand what really goes on in these independent fundamental Baptist wayward homes for children, because it ain't never ended, and we need help getting them shut down and bring awareness and get the kids to safety. Hang on, kids, we're fighting, man. We're fighting hard. We passed 2 bills and got the federal bill going, so hopefully one day this will all come to an end. And I really appreciate everybody listening. Part 3's coming. I'm going to try to do more on the political rally, the court case, and things like that. All the political stuff with Jerry Falwell when they all got involved. It's then I'll go back, like I said, and hit basic points and break some more stuff down and because there's a lot to be told. You know, I witnessed a lot as a child. So, but thank you everybody for listening.